So, good morning, everybody. No, good morning back. Come on, guys. Good, good. Louder, please. Yeah. Had better crowds. Welcome to my session. I have something for me. It's really exciting to tell you. It's about VSTS bot. Somewhere in the slides, I'm going to say we have done something special today. But you hear it anyway. I am a Visual Studio ALM Ranger, and I'm here to talk to you about the chat ops with the VSTS bot we're doing, and help you through the journey we made. So my name is Jeffrey. As I said, I'm an ALM Ranger, so if you need to contact me to show my stuff there. And I'm curious who is using VSTS, Visual Studio Team Services. Cool. Who's already playing with the bot framework from Microsoft? One? One and a half. Okay, cool. We have played with it too, and we got some things covered with it. I will explain. So to start with, is who knows the ALM Rangers? A few. That's cool. We're kind of an open source community which has connections to the product groups around VSTS. So the product groups from Microsoft developing that. And we have some close relationships. And what we do is we try to fill in the gaps between the community, you guys, and between the product groups from Microsoft. And we do that with extensions, because everybody knows that you can extend Visual Studio. We'll also do it with articles, and we do it with a bot right now. So, first news you get today, it's actually already out there, is we have changed a few rules with ALM Rangers. Is ALM Rangers now doing everything open source from start. We used to do private and then decide, okay, we're going to open source this one, we're not going to open source that extension. We're going to open source everything. Actually, we already did. We changed our license files, so there's no Microsoft in there, just the ALM Rangers community. And we're doing that to energize the community, you guys, to start helping us out with building more great extensions. We also changed our name. Currently we called Visual Studio ALM Rangers. We now called ALM DevOps Rangers. We're stepping a bit away from Visual Studio and we're going into the DevOps world because most of the ALM Rangers are already there. And we're doing that to empower the community. It's us for you guys for us. We need to have better tools and we do it together. Also means there are new admins, used to be Microsoft. And this nice guy on the right, that's me. He's looking great. We changed that setup too. So the community, these are not Microsoft people, own all the code, or doesn't own, but has administrator rights on GitHub for all the code. So I said the VSTS bot, we're trying to enter in a world that's called Shelobs. Anybody familiar with Shelobs? Come on, guys. So, what happened is in around 2010, there was a presentation from GitHub, and they told the world they're doing Shelobs. What means they are using a chat tool to communicate with all their IT systems internally. So they do everything from the chat, which is quite cool. So your favorite tool, what is on your phone, probably you're using WhatsApp or Skype or Facebook Messenger. You're using one of those tools already. And now you can use it with the bot. So this is, including with the bot framework that came out, it's getting interesting to actually build your own tools in your chat application very easily. So how would it look like? Some customer, it's in my example where I work, says, hi, I got issues with VSTS, and I'm trying to help him out. I actually type in a command, do you do a build or a release, and that sentence and the outcome will be also presented to me, but also to my customer. And he can learn from it. He knows for next time this is the command I have to enter. This is the example where we begin with our journey for what we wanted to achieve. So why is it interesting? Is if you use a tool like Slack or Microsoft Teams, your team is in a channel together. And if you type something in, you the command, you're sharing what you're doing, literally, so others know what you have done. That builds up in history, and the history can be an audit trail. But the audit trail doesn't consent of when you did it, what you did, but also has why you did it. Because probably you had a conversation just before you entered the commands, is what's going on, why do you need to enter the command. It's also, is the whole history, if you got a new employee, somebody new in a team, he can learn from what you're doing, because he can just read all the whole history. So you got one tool within your organization that connects to all your IT systems, and that can chat with it, something what you already do all day long, probably. So why now? Why not years ago? Because bots are all here for years and years and years. You got in China, you got programs called WeChat, and there are a lot of bots in there. We got the SMS in the Netherlands. You can say, can I get my kenteken, where you get the license plate and information from a car. Those are kind of bots too. But why now is that the bots framework, Microsoft published, and other frameworks too, are making it very easy for you guys to implement such bots. So this is making it easy. The different kind of channels are becoming more common, and channels you have to think of Slack, Skype, etc. And actually the app boom on the phones are slowing down, and the top app is a chat application. So you got a whole list of channels. This is the simplified architecture I always explain to other people. So what they currently have different channels like Bing. The second one is Cortana. You can do email or Facebook Messenger. You can do Kik or WeChat. But virtual targeting is Skype, Slack, and Teams currently. And that connects to a connector, which is the bot framework, a little black magic there. And that translates the message that's coming in into something your bot understands. And your bot is just a web API or a Node.js application. It's not something very different what you're already doing. And either the bot framework or your bot code can connect to different kind of intelligence services. Think Lewis, think something else, and do more stuff with your text, what you're sending. So this kind of examples what you get. Two things to understand. Bots are not text only. It's more interesting to also send back lists so people can make choices, or send what's called a card. And the card gives you context and gives you a bunch of options to do. And the bots is not only, because many people do bot framework are going to use Lewis. It's not only that, it's just more text. You need to figure out how your user experience will be, because that will be different from the system you currently use. And how does that bot communicate? We are currently not using Lewis yet. We have that somewhere down in the roadmap, because we first want to experience is what you guys are going, how you guys are going to use it. But to get in Lewis is just part of that, to understand, is you can train Lewis into understanding your text. We probably think you can send it to it, and that translates it into entities and intents. And the intents translates into a method that's called, for instance, the create pad, and the entities are translated like arguments to your methods. So, very important, they got a developer portal where you can select, okay, I'm going to turn those on. and they administrate with things. But still, for instance, for Microsoft Teams and Slack, you still have to go to their sites if you want to publish your bot to those channels. And they got nice analytics. Actually, I can see how many users went to my bot and used it on a day, and I can see how many people came back a day later or 10 days later. I can see how many messages are sent. And this is just built on top of Application Insight, which is in Azure. So, as I said, there are currently two SDKs. One is the SDK for .NET, which is Web API, and one is for Node.js. But there is also a RESTful API where you can connect to, and then you can also start using Java or any other language. It's just a REST API behind it. First mistake we made, we started publishing to Slack and to the what's called the seller dashboard. Seller dashboard is for Microsoft Teams. My tip for you guys, if you want to build bots, go do this very early, get familiar what they want you to do, what kind of help files you want to do, how kind of help system they want you behind it. And the dashboard is even harder to do, where you need to make sure that you got the right things in place. So start doing very early if you're targeting Microsoft Teams or Slack. That helps you later on in the process because it takes time. You enter, publish it, takes a few days, they will review it, they will test your bot, and they will come back. But this is not like publishing your mobile app. As soon as you publish and you're done, you don't have to republish just your website, your web API application, that you refresh with your new bits. So it's not like mobile apps where anytime you got a new version of your application, you have to upload it and somebody needs to review it from Apple or from Microsoft or from the Android people. So, talking the bots, there's something exciting. About an hour ago, we published the preview. So on Slack or on Skype, you're able to use it right now. I'll show you later on a website where we actually show you the details. But also on Slack, you can find it in their App Store. Microsoft Teams, we're still busy with it. Probably, I hope, next week. What we did is we built a release preview to connect to you guys as soon as possible, and we started with what's called a root dialog, and it's actually the scheme they kind of advise you to get into. Get one root dialog for everything, and that connects to your other dialogues. And what's happening is that you're having a conversation with the bot, and in that conversation you have different kind of dialogues. Let me show you how that looks like in code. There you go. So you enter up into a message controller, and there's just one method in there. It's the post. And all activities, better. And you enter all messages come through that post. And one of the first things you do is you redirect it to a dialog. And this is our root dialog we're taking. But it's not really true. It's not that easy to do. Actually, what we're saying here is whenever you have not started a conversation, that's the first dialog you have to start with. So what's also happening in the background, there will be a stack with different kind of conversations you have, with kind of dialogues in there. And every time there's a top dialog, it actually enters there. It's not always like this, very easy. So you have to think about that there's a stack there for dialogues. So that connects to our first one. Oh, sorry, I need to pick up. this one. And what we're doing is, based on the text, it's kind of tricky here, but this method takes out the mentions in there. So I can mention the bot with the @ sign, and gets the text back without a mention. And based on the text, we're rerouting it to a different dialog. For instance, if you want to do a release, you go to a release dialog. Now, there's a bunch of stuff in there, but the things I want you to remember is that you will get a dialog context, and you got a result that where you have to wait for. The result contains the text where you entered on the client side. And the other things I want you to remember is that whenever you want to say something back to your user, you use a post async. And whenever you're done with that conversation in the dialog, you say done. The other things I want you to remember is that if you're still in dialog and you're expecting the user to reply, I'll show you in a minute, you say wait, making sure that the next message the user sends comes back into that dialog to the create async message. Whenever something happens you don't understand, you probably want to throw an exception, and normally exceptions will not be caught and will bubble up, so you have to make sure it says fail, and that will bubble up to the top dialog that's called this one. So this is how we build it up. Let's go to the fun part. So the bot, how does it work? First thing we have to do, let's make sure it's awake. There it is. We have to connect to it. And we try to be user friendly, so we are always, so we're not connected to your team project or to your account. So we start with connecting to it. So we click on adoption. And then the second thing is we need to make sure you authenticate to your account. That pops up a browser page from VSTS asking you to, are you accepting the application to use your account? You say yes or accept, and you get a PIN number back. What we have to do is copy the PIN number and enter it back into the bot. Now, it's got your credentials now, so it can make a connection to your account and get your team projects back. I'm choosing the demo Fabricam, and these are my team projects. It got first connected to my accounts. And we're not getting anything back. Oh dear. There it is. So it's now connected to my team project and my account. From there on, if I now ask for help, gives me 4 options. So I can retrieve all the approvals that are assigned to me. I can get all the builds that are assigned to me. I can connect to another account or team project, or I can get all the releases. So if you select builds, you can either type it or click it, doesn't really matter. And get me all the list. I just got one build in here. That is this one. Well, I can say queue it. So in the background, sending message to VCS. And there it goes. It's not started yet, but it's now in progress. I can tell the bot to get me a list of releases. There you go, just got one. That's this one, the new release definition, and I can say create. And Currently we have release 5. There should be release 6. There we go. And that's waiting for an approval. So if I type approvals, there we go. And I can say approve. I have to give a comment, like every normal PO does. And it starts my deployment. There it goes. We have to wait. Doesn't bother. This is quite cool, but still is a small MVP. We putting this out as fast as we can. That we, at least we think it's a bit of useful, but still we're looking for the community, meaning you guys, to help us build this further, either by contributing in code, as it's in GitHub, with pull requests, or start asking us questions or asking us for features. We want the community to drive this further. Or if nobody wants to use it, we probably need to stop. Okay. Yes. You're using the bot framework, right? Have you done unit tests already? No. Nobody. It's quite hard to do. There's something with the framework where you get trapped. I'll tell you a bit later. Well, actually, we covered it. We're currently using mock and fakes. We still are debating which one we actually should use. But mock we use for all the dialogues. But we're making connection to VSTS, and that's the one we use for fakes to make sure that we got more coverage there. Else we had to mock it out. But for acceptance tests, we're using SpecFlow. Anybody familiar with SpecFlow? It's really cool. SpecFlow will allow you to write gherkin, which is write real language. Just show you. Like this. In a structured manner, it's like given when then. But I can or a PO let it write this, or a tester. This makes sense to them. There's still a structure there. What it does actually, the framework does, is generate skeleton code for your given when then that you have to implement as a developer or a tester that can write code. And it helps you structure your code. So you can do code first and test first, make it part of your pipeline. Which is really cool. The other part is we're using a SDK, a client SDK, it's called Direct Client, and it's also part of the bot framework to communicate, to act like one of the chat applications. So that's what we're doing for acceptance tests. Is the other thing I forgot to mention. There's a little trick there. If you want to debug the bot framework on your machine, is actually what it does is bot frameworks on the cloud. Your chat application connect to the bot framework on the cloud, and the bot framework want to connect to your web API. If you're debugging, it's local on your machine, and there's a tool called ngwalk, and it's like a reverse proxy. So you connect the bot framework to ngwalk, and then ngwalk knows that this is URL, and there's a client application, small client, is connecting to that same URL and getting the message from the URL and put them in your machine. And also when it replies, it pushes there back and make it a reply to the bot framework to your channels. It's doing VSTS, so we have a CICD implementation. So we're getting our code into a Git repository on GitHub, we build it and we deploy it to a canaries ring, where a few people are able to connect, and they will, like canaries, let us know if something is wrong. If all looks fine, we will deploy it to the users. Now, so kind of looks like, here we go. It's actually quite simple, because the only thing we are deploying is a Azure app on Azure, and we then run the acceptance test against it. So why I'm showing this, I want to show you it's actually very, very simple, not really hard to deploy a bot framework application. Okay, done that. Okay, a few gotchas. You saw me enter the PIN number. I'm not sure if anybody asked yourself why he needs a PIN number. There is, if you're two people talking in one channel and talking to the bot and somebody say connect, I can also do something like, I'm gonna type connect and asking you to enter your credentials and give you back the PIN number. So we're making some steps to make sure that's visible to the user what he's doing, and he should not read the lines below, not give the PIN number to somebody else. The other gotcha we had with unit testing, by coming back, is there are some methods I showed you before, like the post async. That is not on that interface. Yeah, you want to mock out, you're probably mocking out on interfaces. It's not there. It's actually an extension method, and that extension method is calling the post async with a cancellation token. That's the real method that's being called. And you cannot mock out with mock the extension method. The like a gotcha where we took 2 weeks to cover to find out. The other thing is for the acceptance test, we're connecting the bot to VSTS based on an OAuth token. To make those tests able to happen, we actually did a debug session to first time get the OAuth token or the refresh token to make that a secure connection, because we demand secure connections. And we put that refresh token into our deployment, but after the first time it got recycled. So if you want to do something with OAuth tokens, with the testing, you need to have the refresh token to make that happen. Another gotcha, if you're in on one-on-one chat, you probably want to chat directly like I did, builds, etc. But if you're in group chat, and if I type something in the command line, it doesn't need to react on everything. I'm talking to you, it should just shut up. So you need to have knowledge if the bot is in a group chat, and you need, which you do with is group. You also need to make sure that I am mentioned in this group chat with the mentioned recipient. Then I need to text without me being there with the add. So that it removes the add bot, etc. So it's kind of going, and I think you guys are hungry anyway. So if you got questions, you can ask. So if you want to see something, you can ask. Oh, quiet people. You're all tired for lunch, right? Slack, yes, yes. Slack was actually my backup if Teams were failing. But here it is. Actually, I already connected it, so I can do help. Oh, sorry. No, yeah. There you go. So actually, it's similar to Teams. You type help. We can do the same things we done before. And we can queue it. So exact same thing. Again, we went live today. So if you're interested, it's on my slide, and the slides will be published. That's the last one. I should have it here. Here you go. We go on web page. So if you want to use Skype, just click that button over there. If you want to use Slack, just click that button over there, and we'll connect to your Slack account. And it's also in the Slack repository, so in the App Store from Slack. I haven't looked into it yet, but it's there. So, any other questions? Yes. Yes. Well, we had a discussion, we did a very long discussion with security people from Microsoft, and they were like, yeah, you have to have least privileges. And we're like, yeah, but we're looking ahead. So we want to do, there's a bunch of lists. You could have restricted us to bills, releases, and approvals, but we know already we want to do things with work items. We want to do things with notifications. Actually, we want to make sure that we can set up a service hook in there automatically from the bot, so we need to have more rights than only that. We need to read your profile. We need information from the profile. We need to have your authentication token. So that's why the list is longer than we actually went through it, and we 4 or 5 times. Do we really need that? Any other questions? No, that's currently not, because you already got such things in the App Store from Slack and also for Teams. So we first focus on actually talking that, but it's the next big thing we want to do. And we're probably going to call it something like you can set up your notifications directly from your chat application, and then decide I'm going to connect to those. Because that's really interesting, especially for approvals, especially if your PO is on holiday. And then he actually gets a message, so ping, ping, do my approval. Also, when he's away. Any other questions? Oh, good. Yes. No. No. As soon as the PIN number is done, there's a little trickery behind, is nobody can use it anymore. Just only for that person that tried to connect, only for that person that went to the website where you get the PIN number. We make sure that is done safely. No, no, it's just you. Yes. And it looks like sometimes you're the same things, but you're you and the other guy is the other guy. There's something called storage behind it, and it actually makes, you got storage for conversation, you got storage for a user, and you got a storage for a user within a conversation, and we use the second one, so make sure that if you do another conversation, you still have your credentials. You don't have to type them all the time, but we're going to make sure that not another user can use your credentials. Any other questions? Then I will leave you guys to your lunch.